Alrighty then. This is a video on a thing that I made for a hackathon. The hackathon was a lab AI hackathon for Qubic, which is a blockchain that's super fast. And that's about all I know about it, to be honest. I don't know much about Web3 or blockchain, so that's why I wanted to do the hackathon to learn more about it. And to be honest, I don't know how much I learned, but I built something. Here's what it is. It's called MicroStream. Essentially what it does is, because MicroStream is so fast, you don't have to pay for transaction fees, which I guess it's a thing in cryptocurrency. If you're sending transactions, you also have to pay something called gas. So that is, if I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. But I believe it is the transaction fee for like computational cost. So normally, like let's say you're on Ethereum, you would have to pay, I'm not sure if this is like exact or not, but if you send 0.001 of a cent, you would have to pay more in fees just for the computational or the transaction fee power. Because Qubic is so fast, though, it's instantaneous. The computation is just a lot faster. So this is actually the same, what's going on over here. What my app does is, since there's 0 transaction fees and it's instant finality, and this is a huge number, computational power, whatever, you can set it something up so it's pay per second. So the simplest one I wanted to come up with was like for streams, where you'd be paying per the second that you watch it. So the solution there, or like the alternative there, would be, instead of paying like a monthly fee for watching some streamer that you might not come to their page ever again, you could kind of drop in for a few seconds or a few minutes and start watching. So here's the app. Imagine something really exciting or educational right here. And so when you start watching, it starts calculating in real time per second how much Qubic in that worth. And so this would be something maybe the streamer sets up, or the streaming platform sets up. With this, the idea is that you'd probably buy like 10 units beforehand, and then this is it calculating in real time. And so you can pause it here. Maybe you just like have to go to the bathroom or something, and then you keep watching. And so when you stop and close it, it tells you what's been paid here, how long you watch, and then refunded to you. Think it's like like I said before, it's like you pay ahead of time, so that you're just like using units, like credits. That's the thing I made. It actually does work on a demo, but this isn't live or anything. And this could be extended to use for like the amount of time that you use, like maybe like a streaming API. Let's see, what else can I see here? This is what I built it in. Me and Cloud Code to the end here. So that's why this is like my first real Web3 project. So this is kind of what it's built in here. It's just running out of my local machine. Let's see, prerequisites. This is kind of how you run it if you want to test it. And then here's some docs and everything. And so yeah, use cases, like I was saying, is you could charge like educational for like lectures. Like you just pay for what you watch. API access, like if you're not just getting information, if you're just like streaming requests, that could be useful. Live streaming, like I showed you, like processing. So like if you're using something like overtime. Like I said, I didn't know too much about Web3 before getting into this, but I wanted to use something or build something that using Qubic for like what it's good at. Okay, so not to get too far into the weeds here, this is the viewer file for the front end. So this is how and what renders on the page over here. These are all the things that happen. And over here you can see this is where all that logic happens. You see seconds displayed, amount displayed, remaining displayed. So that's where the magic happens here. And so we'll go to the contracts, payment channel. So here is the smart contract doing the same exact call. So the blockchain time elapsed multiplied rate equals payment. So we see that right here. That's where that's happening. And this right here is making sure that it doesn't exceed this. The front end shows it in real time. Obviously, the smart contract enforces it on chain. Maybe I'll put a video out about what smart contracts are and what on-chain and blockchain all means, actually, because I could probably benefit from trying to explain that. But that's where it is in the payment channel. So this is kind of like its own thing. The hackathon went all right. This is my first real end-to-end one. Looks like I got 2 likes here. That's pretty cool. The first thing that went super wrong was I just assumed that the start and the end of the hackathon would be at the same time, like 24 to 48 hours apart or something. I knew it was going to end on Sunday. I woke up after building everything out. I woke up with 2 hours to go, and you have to make a presentation and everything. So honestly, this YouTube video is a better presentation than I've actually made. You can see it's only 1 minute here. I had some measly slides that I went through. They don't really show a lot. That is something I would say for anybody else who's planning on doing a hackathon. Make sure you give yourself more than 2 hours to build a presentation out, especially if you don't know what you're building. So that's the first thing that I messed up. The second is that you're usually going to be working with something that's fairly new, if not at least hasn't hit the mainstream yet. The more time that you can give yourself to plan and research that domain and the product or the tool or whatever it is you're going to work with, the better. Second, the presentation and the video are things that, while I was sort of new to this, so I saw it as research, plan, build, presentation in that order. I think it would be better next time to do the presentation, build the presentation out while you're building it, because then you can kind of bounce back and forth between understanding the components that are coming together and how you might have to explain them, because this is the most, right now is the most I've explained it. I didn't really get a chance to, I had 15 minutes to submit and everything once I started putting everything together, which is like the whole point. Overall, it's a good way to just dive into the process of building something out over like a weekend or a week, and just seeing the entire process of like idea generation to basically like how you would market a product. And I didn't realize that until I was completely done with everything, that this was like the process front to back. Going back to that with the time management thing, starting off, you want to give yourself a lot of time. If you have more time before the hackathon and you know what the hackathon is going to be about, use all the time in the world to prep and brainstorm and research the thing that you're using in the hackathon. That will be like the biggest tool in your toolbox when you approach it, is having an idea before the hackathon starts, because then you can really build out the idea. Because I started researching after the hackathon began. I could have probably fleshed my idea out a little bit more. So that's starting, and then ending, just give yourself so much time for presentation. I'm sure that's what it's all going to be about. What I learned and what went well was I didn't know too much about Web3 and everything, so having like Claude Code definitely helps, but it also kind of puts a buffer between you and understanding like really what's going on. And I kind of understand blockchain and I kind of understand how it works, and I understand it a little bit more now, but it's definitely worth using AI to planning, brainstorming, coding. Like you can use it a lot of different ways. What's next for me is I didn't spend any time validating the idea too, so that's something I think would be useful to do in your research and concept, is see if it's even useful. I just built something that sounded cool. You can find my project here on GitHub right here. There's a demo, obviously. You can see it's 1 minute, but this is more the demo than anything. I am looking for feedback, so if you see this and you have anything to say, would love to hear the feedback or use cases, or I don't know, if it's actually useful, I'd love to hear that too. Other than that, that's kind of it, and that's sort of my presentation on it. I would say the hackathon is definitely a good experience, and it's a lot of fun because you just kind of have to dive full into making something that's totally new, and you get to learn like everything about it. And I've learned a lot. The amount that I've learned about like Web3 in general just over like the past weekend is really crazy. And it's a really, really cool space, and it's really surprising not more people know about what's happening there. So definitely something I would just recommend people getting into, because it's sort of like programming and economics. It's kind of like a cool area, and I'd love to get more involved. I don't know if I would have just had this idea organically and built it out. It probably would have taken me like a month to kind of figure through it, but you kind of you stay up building something and it just becomes real. And yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.